What happens when you take Shakespeare's most beloved gender-bending comedy and transport it from Elizabethan courts to the 19th century, or even American high school soccer fields? Hey, it's Darcy from Ladies First, and today we're talking about two wildly different adaptations of Twelfth Night and how they reveal what each generation values most in storytelling. William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night gave us Viola, a shipwrecked woman who disguises herself as a man to survive in a foreign land. It's a story about identity, love, and the masks we wear to navigate an unforgiving world. But when filmmakers decided to bring this 400-year-old tale to modern audiences, they made vastly different choices, and those choices tell us everything about what matters to each generation. Trevor Nunn's 1996 adaptation stays remarkably faithful to Shakespeare's original vision. Set in the late 19th century, it treats the source material with reverence, keeping the poetic language and complex emotional landscape intact. Imogen Stubbs brings a haunting vulnerability to Viola, while the film's lush cinematography, shot on location in Cornwall, creates an almost dreamlike atmosphere that honors the play's romantic idealism. Meanwhile, Andy Fickman's 2006 modernization, She's the Man, throws Shakespeare's poetry out the window in favor of broad physical comedy and teen movie conventions. Amanda Bynes transforms Viola into a soccer-obsessed teenager fighting for gender equality in sports, turning the elegant deception of the original into a series of increasingly absurd disguises and misunderstandings. The differences between these adaptations reveal fascinating insights about their respective eras. Nunn's version emerged during the mid-90s when period dramas dominated prestige cinema. Think Emma, Sense and Sensibility, and Kenneth Branagh's Shakespeare adaptations. Audiences craved literary authenticity and emotional sophistication. Helena Bonham Carter's Olivia mourns her brother with genuine grief, while the film explores themes of loss, longing, and the complexity of desire with adult sensibility. She's the Man, however, arrived during the height of early 2000s teen comedy culture. Think Mean Girls, Legally Blonde, and the Disney Channel original movie boom. This version strips away Shakespeare's melancholy undertones, focusing instead on girl power messaging and broad physical humor. Viola's motivation shifts from survival necessity to social activism, fighting against systemic sexism in high school athletics. The casting choices further illuminate these generational differences. Nunn assembled a distinguished ensemble of British theater veterans: Ben Kingsley, Nigel Hawthorne, Richard E. Grant, actors who could handle Shakespeare's language with natural ease. Their performances feel lived-in and authentic, treating the comedy as character-driven rather than situation-driven. Conversely, She's the Man casts rising stars Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum, performers known more for their charisma than their classical training. Bynes, coming off her Nickelodeon success, brought the manic energy that defined early 2000s teen comedies. Her performance prioritizes physical comedy over emotional depth, turning Viola's gender performance into an extended sketch rather than an identity crisis. But here's where things get interesting. Which version actually succeeded at reaching its intended audience? Nunn's adaptation received critical acclaim, earning a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes and praised from Roger Ebert. It grossed $33 million worldwide on a $5 million budget. Respectable numbers for a period Shakespeare adaptation. The film found its audience among theater enthusiasts and lovers of literary cinema, exactly the demographic it courted. She's the Man, despite mixed critical reception, 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, became a genuine cultural phenomenon. It earned $57 million worldwide and launched countless memes and quotable moments that still circulate on social media today. More importantly, it introduced Shakespeare's story to an entire generation of young women who might never have encountered the original play otherwise. The film's lasting impact proves particularly significant. While Nunn's version remains a well-regarded but somewhat forgotten adaptation, She's the Man developed an enormous cult following. Amanda Bynes' performance became iconic, with fans still quoting her improvised lines and celebrating her fearless commitment to the physical comedy. The movie sparked conversations about gender equality in sports and inspired countless young women to challenge traditional boundaries. Perhaps the most revealing difference lies in how each adaptation handles the central deception. Nunn's Viola disguises herself out of desperation. She's a refugee in a foreign land, using male identity as protection. Her performance feels fragile, constantly threatening to crack under emotional pressure. Bynes' Viola chooses her disguise as rebellion. She's fighting against a system that devalues women's abilities. Her male performance becomes increasingly confident and outrageous, turning gender performance into a form of empowerment rather than survival. These contrasting approaches reflect their era's different relationships with feminism. The 90s adaptation treats gender as something tragic and limiting, while the 2000s version sees gender performance as potentially liberating and fun. Both films succeed within their own context, but they serve fundamentally different purposes. None created a faithful literary adaptation for audiences seeking artistic prestige. Fickman crafted a populist entertainment that smuggled Shakespeare's themes into accessible contemporary packaging. Together, they show how the same story can be reimagined to reflect shifting cultural anxieties. In this way, Twelfth Night proves itself endlessly adaptable, always revealing new truths depending on the lens of the era. Decades later, both adaptations feel like perfect time capsules of their respective moments. Yet She's the Man's cultural longevity suggests something profound about the power of accessibility over authenticity. Sometimes the lesser adaptation becomes the more influential one, not because it's better art, but because it reaches the right audience at the right moment with the right message. The classics never die. They just get weirder, and that's exactly why we love digging into them here. So what's your take? Do you prefer your Shakespeare straight or with a modern twist? Let me know in the comments. And if you love overanalyzing how classic stories evolve across generations, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Ladies First. We've got plenty more deep dives into film, femininity, and the messy brilliance of pop culture. Stick around because the next story is always just as chaotic as the last.